Let me talk about one of my best friends in law enforcement, Lieutenant David Smith. If you were his friends or his family, you knew him as Junebug. David Smith was the first African American in uniform patrol in the history of the Sheriff's Office. That's right, it's National Black History Month. And David Smith is one of the icons here at the Sheriff's Office. He worked with us for decades, and then he retired, and he volunteered as a reserve deputy for many, many more years. But he and I talked endlessly about what it was like to be an African American deputy in ostensibly a white man's world. Weren't even any deputies that were female in patrol back in that time. Lieutenant Smith, when he was hired on as a deputy by Monroe Brannon, was given Monroe Brannon's parade car. Sheriff Brannon told him, "Junebug, I want you to ride up and down Highway 60 and up and down Highway 27 just so the African American community can see you and see that we're diverse." Lieutenant Smith said that was the beginning of what was to be an illustrious career at the Sheriff's Office. And then I remember the time that he was dispatched to Rivers Drink All Bar in Juanita, Florida. Now, none of you know about that, but it was an old labor camp bar in a white area of town. And he was a brand new African American deputy. So when he walked into this bar to handle a disturbance, because he was dispatched and it was his area, he was met with some, let's say, not proper language when they asked him, "What are you doing in this bar?" He smiled and nodded and went outside and got a shotgun. And he came back to Rivers Drink All Bar from the parking lot with a shotgun. And he said, "I had a totally different reception. They let me have that bar." That day, Deputy Sheriff David Smith established himself as a law enforcement officer for all the people. Now let's fast forward. He was our friend. He introduced other African Americans to the organization. Joe Hallman, Ken Grant, and just to name a couple who are my dear friends. And we're going to talk about Joe Hallman, Chief Joe Hallman, later on, but you're going to see some pictures. So now it's 2016. I'm the sheriff. David's getting on in years. And we had all been to an event together, me, Chief Hallman, and Lieutenant David Smith. David now is using a cane to walk around. He's old. And we were reminiscing and talking about the way it used to be. We were talking about war stories. And I said, "Junebug, tell me about the time that you were in the shootout down at the Maxi Quarters." That's right, there was a Maxi Quarters labor camp on Maxi Quarters Road. And back in the day, there wasn't any backup. It was late at night. He was dispatched to an armed disturbance. And when he arrived, he saw the guy with a gun. And he started chasing him through the labor camp, from the bar through the labor camp. And they had a running gun battle. He finally got the guy arrested, took him to jail, and the next morning they found a man deceased that was sleeping in one of the labor camps in his bed. He had been shot by a stray bullet during the gunfight. Well, needless to say, the guy that Deputy Smith took to jail was now charged with murder. So we went back there. My hobby is photography, so I took my camera and I said, Lieutenant Smith, we've got to have photographs of me and you and Joe Hallman while you're showing us around the old Maxi Quarters labor camp. And if you look at the pictures today, you can see Lieutenant Smith standing on a platform. All that's left is the concrete floor. You can see that the brick building's gone. All the labor camp homes and houses are gone. It's yesteryear. It was a different time, different rules. But there was one man that kept everyone safe and secure during that way, way long ago time. It was Deputy Sheriff David Smith. Then he became a sergeant and a lieutenant. He was chief over our civil process division at one time. He was a shift lieutenant where he taught young deputies, male, female, black, white, brown, how to do the job, how to be sensitive to everyone, how to be fair and equitable, how to listen. Lieutenant David Smith is a hero at the Sheriff's Office in Polk County, Florida. He's a legend at the Sheriff's Office in Polk County, Florida. He's a trailblazer and a pioneer at the Sheriff's Office in Polk County, Florida. We miss him. He's since passed away. He always has been and always will be, in my mind, one of my dearest friends.